just asked you for an ID. That was
I don't give a f what you asked me for, bitch. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up, bitch.
Peacefully complying.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
He has a gun on him. Look at that.
A fully registered firearm. Because I'm a U.S. citizen. What's wrong with y'all?
Walking away, trying to get away while they're still searching him. Not harassing the person filming, by the way.
If the example existed of, yes, officer, okay, I'm sorry, you need identification at this, okay, yep, thank you, sorry, I'll be on my merry way, and then just catches a haymaker, you'd see it. It doesn't exist. And this brings us to something that I really wanted to get into and discuss today. We've talked about this. We always try and make sure that you don't just take our word for it. We make all of the references available. We try to hold ourselves to account. I would encourage everyone else out there creating content to do so, because we are in an era of, we lived through mainstream media, CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, all of that for a long time, and they were dishonest. But now it doesn't matter what the issue is. You have people simply fabricating out of thin air stories that never took place, videos that don't reflect what actually was happening, or denying things going on as though they don't exist, whether that's foreign policy, whether that's ICE, or the Jews in every capacity. Everyone now is chasing clicks, clicks, clicks. And the problem is not just these people lying, but then when you read the comments and the replies, you see so many people who believe it. And some of the most viral posts have been flat out fabricated or completely false. It's time for, I guess, new media malpractice. All right, and as we said, all references available. So first, let me address this. Yes, the original smoking girl picture, the picture of Iran, it was taken in Canada, not Iran. Okay, she's an Iranian exile. She's, I guess, what do you call an exilee? She's living in exile in Canada. Okay, which, by the way, isn't all that much better. So people will use that and say, see, this is propaganda, therefore none of it is real. And then that opens the door to other serious propaganda that is not just misleading. It is deliberately designed to lie to you so that you will form your opinions on non-reality. And if you form your opinions on non-reality, that means that you are forming your opinions. You are starting from the groundwork of the reality chosen by and brought to you from the propagandist. Here's an example. The helicopters above Tehran. This video went out all over the place. Saying this is Tehran right now. Hundreds of thousands of Iranians are there to show their support for Iran and condemn the rioters. Turns out that was propaganda. That was not even a real video.
Well, so the question that we have is, like, it doesn't seem like a real video. Did he Photoshop himself into that? Was the streets stuff? It looks like the street stuff is kind of real. It doesn't look like that's fake, but the helicopter stuff looks kind of fake. Yeah. So is he just doing it for clout, or is he doing it for anything else? We don't know. But when you see something like that, you go, can I trust any of this? I have no idea.
Right. And there are some other examples. It gets really bad with ICE.
Yeah.
We're going to try and give you some fabricated examples and then examples of people just choosing an in and an out point to paint a narrative that doesn't really exist. So the question becomes, is this reality, or is Iran using propaganda to manifest a reality that they prefer? I don't know for certain. What I do know is that I have recently conquered my fear of spiders, and I can prove it. So,
wow.
I'm a changed man.
Yeah, well, that's nice. I've actually, my Broadway career is starting to take off.
Really?
As well, yeah.
Golden batter, crispy from the fryer. A stick of magic sets my heart on fire. Sweet and savory on this wooden one.
Yeah, well, you look good there.
Yeah.
And good enough for me.
Yeah, I'm happy to say I've honestly reached new heights in my life as well.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, sun's out. Time to let these run. I haven't seen daylight since last summer.
Whoa! Look at those legs!
Look at them.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you. I'm happy for you, Noodles. On to the propaganda as far as the, yeah.
There's I just wanted to clear. Yeah, there's one more. That's okay.
Oh, not day no more. I am deserted. I like matter no more. I saw like weathered. I I that word I don't. I'm not I would not be a man. I would not carry a purse. I would not will make the. I will love a woman.
Grok says that last one's fake.
Yeah, that's gotta be fake. God, when you turned your head, the whole face was all sideways.
Grok can confirm all of the others. That one's fake, and I'm disappointed. Don't be afraid to do a little better, Gerald.
I'll try harder.
But this moves us on to the next story. There have been a bunch of stories that many people on the left believe, and this matters because they'll often use these false stories as grounds to commit acts of violence. For example, you have people in this country who believed that Charlie Kirk was, my God, an actual Nazi. Hopefully you guys see, this old idea that sticks and stones may break my bones. No, words, especially as they travel these days, they absolutely can result in the serious harm or death of people. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to speak freely. Absolutely, you should. But you need to be very aware and very diligent in the information that you consume.
Yeah.
Because I watched entire groups of people, we're in all of these groups, we've infiltrated all of them, who actually believed that Charlie Kirk was a Nazi who would support the carrying out of a Holocaust. And now you see people who believe that ICE are the literal Gestapo simply assaulting American citizens.
Many Americans are afraid as ICE agents demand papers and at times put American citizens in handcuffs.
As agents try to restrain the woman and place her in their vehicle, she can be heard pleading to agents and screaming to those watching that she is an American citizen.
A 79-year-old business owner says he was body slammed and pinned to the ground by federal agents during
an
immigration raid
Good enough for me.
despite being a U.S. citizen.
The latest video to send shockwaves from San Diego immigration court through the immigrant community is actually not of an immigrant, but a 71-year-old U.S. citizen.
So you've heard a lot of these stories. Remember Maryland man, Abrego Garcia? Let's go through these to see if they're legitimate. Let's go through a few examples. Here's the first one. In Los Angeles, Keith Porter Jr. was shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent, you were told.
According to the Department of Homeland Security, the off-duty ICE agent heard gunfire near his apartment and went to check it out. That's when DHS says the officer encountered Porter holding a long rifle. Advocates say Porter's gunfire that night was his way of observing the holiday.
What?
Yes, it was illegal, but at the end of the day, it's American tradition.
But the agent allegedly ordered Porter to put down the weapon. And when he didn't comply, DHS says the off-duty officer fired his service gun. The agency claims Porter fired 3 rounds at the off-duty agent before he was killed.
Wait, what? That is bizarre. Was that a vigil or a seance? It's a far cry from a Ouija board.
Bring him back.
So the way this was framed, attorney Ben Crump wrote on X, Keith Porter Jr. was a father of 2, a son and a brother whose life was stolen by an off-duty ICE agent. His family gathered in grief, demanding the truth. We will continue to stand with Keith Porter Jr.'s family until there is justice, transparency, and answers. Well, here are a few answers. The obvious one, gunfire out there in a public space, whether celebratory or for any other reason, is illegal. Don't know if you know that. Yeah. He was told to stop firing the gun in the air by said agent. And then Porter allegedly aimed said gun at the ICE officer in response. One person heard someone demand repeatedly that Porter, quote, put down the rifle. So this also begs the question, and I don't think that common sense can just be the basis for any argument, but I do think it is applicable contextually. If you are shooting a real gun into the air and you are asked to stop and you aim it at said person, whether knowingly or accidentally, how do you think that's going to go? Like, what do you think is the most likely situation to transpire? We can say the same thing about hitting an officer after taunting them and impeding them and obstructing traffic all day. It doesn't mean that it's the ideal outcome, but let me ask you genuinely, if you were shooting a gun, let's say you were shooting guns into the air. Let's actually scale it back. Let's say you were shooting guns with blanks into the air, celebrating, but they looked like real guns. And an officer didn't know. And he said, hey, stop doing that. and you didn't even aim it at him, but you just looked at him and went, bang, 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 what do you think would happen to you?
I mean, that's like the reason why cops have guns.
Yeah, it's kind of
because other people have guns and they fire them.
Yep.
That's the most clear-cut case.
And it doesn't.
Why did he get shot? Oh, he was firing a gun.
Yeah. If the left had an example, whether it was Black Lives Matter, and I've said this, or now, of an American citizen sitting, waiting for a bus, abiding by the law, getting the crap kicked out of them, you would see it. That would be the reason for the marches. That would be the reason. That would be the catalyst for these movements. The reason it's not, and it always ends up being a story that comes to light, whether it was George Floyd, whether it was Mike Brown, the lie, hands up, don't shoot, is because that's still the best they can come up with. And there are entire courses taught on police brutality, driving while black. Why don't you have any of these examples? And if you did, why do you pick these stories to turn into martyrs? Let's go to the second example. This one is really bad. It's also funny. So Sunday, a man at an anti-ICE protest, and then I'll give you the commentary, was allegedly rammed, run over, hit with a car. Ooh.
ICE out protest in Memphis Sunday started peacefully. Hundreds gathered along Summer Avenue holding signs. Protesters then started marching in the street. Things changed when Tennessee Highway Patrol showed up.
Because they're on a highway?
Multiple witnesses claim a trooper drove into protesters.
Multiple witnesses, because those protesters, they're known for being reliable.
Yeah.
So with this information, the Tennessee State Senator Justin Pearson wrote this on Facebook. The ramming of a marshal at a peaceful protest in Memphis by the Tennessee Highway Patrol is disturbing, dangerous, and troubling, especially in these times. I've seen enough videos and heard from enough attendees from the ICE out march to believe that there needs to be an investigation done by TBI of the Tennessee Highway Patrol officers' actions. Well, good news is there didn't need to be a lengthy investigation because the patrolman released dash cam footage.
Move! Get out of my way! Get out of my way! Move! Move! Move!
What?
Move! 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 Get out! Come here!
And I will tell you, that's so much worse than just an accident.
Oh my
That is,
God.
you know that kid who you hate, who you watch lie to parents?
Yeah.
Who's the actual bully? And you're like, oh my God, I hate that kid because people... That's almost all of these protesters. That is proactively dishonest, and the only reason he's doing it is because he knows he's going to get a senator or a congressperson or a judge somewhere to say, we need an investigation. This is wrong. This is cruel. That's the only reason he's he's not even trying to hide it.
Not a single one of these people is scared.
No.
Not a single one of these people is actually scared that something's going to happen to them or that their ICE is some kind of Gestapo or not. None of them are scared.
Right.
Is it wrong that I wanted the cop to hit the gas?
No, not at all.
I just instinctively, I was like, well, now's a good time.
Well, I don't see him anymore. I might as well step on the gas pedal.
Yes. His hands are here, but the rest of his body is who knows?
Yeah, I don't see him. I guess at this point, what's done is done.
They love this, and the media salivates, man. They were salivating over the guy shooting the gun in the air because they go, oh man, finally we can get black people behind this.
Right.
If we tell them that ICE is killing black people, man, that's how we get the movement going.
Right. At best, and this is very rare, one of their descriptors may be true, where it's like they may have an American citizen, but they were not being peaceful, which would explain the reason for being detained. Or they may find someone who is being peaceful, but they are not an American citizen. Most of the time, they are not an American citizen and they are not being peaceful, or they are anti-ICE agitators. I've never seen one where all of the descriptors used are actually accurate. Here's another one that I saw this, and sometimes it's actually a disadvantage to walk through something logically because your brain it short circuits. So I read this post on X. And then I watched the video that was included in the post. And I told myself, it must have been one of those autoplay things where it played a different video.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that's. And then I realized that this person at Jesus freaking Congress was hoping that you read this lengthy description and not click the video, or that the video is missing from your timeline. That's the only explanation I can come up with because of how not only inaccurate, it's the antithesis of an accurate description. So this is what is written, and then I'll show you the video. This person wrote, "No crime, no warrant, no probable cause. An agent falsely claims that's assault while they're actively assaulting a U.S. citizen who is complying and not resisting." There's a portion here above this where the person says, they write, "The man calmly responds, 'I am not moving.' The agent escalates again, snarling, 'You're an effing bitch, and you're going to learn the hard way.' Again, this victim says, 'I am not moving.' It describes the victim as being peaceful, as being compliant, and a very profane ICE agent who is shaking down this American citizen for no reason." Read the entire post, and now watch the entire video, and I'm very curious as to what transpired before this video. We don't have that yet. I'm willing to bet it was something like shooting guns in the air or blocking a car. You know, that kind of thing.
Get the fuck on the car before you get fucking arrested. I'm not. Get the fuck on the car before you get
fucking assault.
Don't move, you're gonna get fucking tased. Don't fucking move or you're gonna get tased. Because you want to be an idiot. I'm not moving. Because you want to be a fucking idiot. You're a fucking bitch. And you're gonna learn the fucking hard way.
Just asked you for an ID. That was
I don't give a fuck what you asked me for, bitch. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up, bitch.
Peacefully complying.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? He has a gun on him. Look at that. A fully registered firearm. Because I'm a U.S. citizen. What's wrong with y'all?
Walking away, trying to get away while they're still searching him. Not harassing the person filming, by the way. Fully allowed to film and observe.
Y'all are some real fucking scumbags. You know that, right? I'm a scumbag? Yes. You just acted like a fucking scumbag. If you're a fucking U.S. citizen, you shouldn't have done that. What made you get into this fucking profession? Why are you so mad at Why are you so mad at immigrants? What did they do to you?
Rape.
Yeah. So some context, obviously, that was missing from the description. The man yelling, swearing at the officers. The officer said that all he needed was the man's ID. He said, "I don't give a f what you asked me for, bitch," you know, peacefully complying. Multiple guns confiscated, which was not mentioned in the post. And here's the thing. I get that you can lawfully carry in that state. If you are actually being handcuffed or if you are being detained by officers, one of the first things they ask you is, "Hey, do you have any weapons on you? Anything that could stab me?" He wouldn't have had time to do that because this man was swearing and yelling at them. Now, ICE said that he was reaching for something. And this man said, "I didn't reach for anything. I reached for my whistle." Well, which is it?
Yeah.
And there's your probable cause when, if the ICE officers were saying this man was acting aggressive, this man was reaching for something, we had reason to believe that it was a weapon. And "I didn't do any of that, you bitch. I was reaching for my whistle." Well, you have guns on you, so can we agree that that would be probable cause?
He didn't call him a bitch, he called him a pussy.
That's
which
right.
is really
He said
funny
both.
coming from guys saying, "I was looking for my whistle, you pussy."
Yes.
Okay, tough guy.
Yeah, and by the way, when people say a report by ProPublica, this is what people are circulating: 170 U.S. citizens arrested by ICE. 72% of them were held for interfering with ICE. So in other words, those American citizens are the people you see blocking cars, the people you see either assaulting officers, screaming at officers,
throwing
impeding
bricks.
officers. The remaining 28% were questioned and released. If the example existed of, "Yes, officer, okay, I'm sorry, you need identification at this, okay, yep, thank you, sorry, I'll be on my merry way," and then just catches a haymaker, you'd see it. It doesn't exist.
I'd be curious to see what the rate of successful arrests is for ICE. When we're talking about, how many was it? How many people was it that you said that?
It was 70. They said 170 U.S. citizens.
170 U.S. citizens.
72% were held for interfering.
I would like to see what the number is of that. What the 170 U.S. citizens is wrongful arrest ratio compared to successful arrest ratio from ICE.
Yeah, well, it's a good point. It doesn't matter what you do because you're still used as a statistic by the left.
Well, they'll do that stuff. They'll go, "Oh, it's only 1%.
Right.
Only 1% of immigrants will do the murders and the rapes."
Right.
It's like, Yeah, but that's 500,000 people.
So if an officer shoots, okay, well then you're going to have a vigil and that's going to be a protest because you have Renee Good. All right. But then if you detain someone for impeding, remember when people said, hey, why didn't he just tell her to move her car? Well, he did.
Yeah.
Well, why didn't he just take her out and detain her? Well, he tried to, and then she rammed a cop. But even then, you'd put her in a statistic of an American citizen who was arrested by ICE. It doesn't matter what they do. The left doesn't want law and order enforced.
They also make detaining sound like some kind of, prison sentence.
Right.
Detaining. I've been detained twice. Been detained for something. I was just there. I was in downtown Seattle. These guys got into a fight. I was buying a hot dog at a hot dog cart. Typical Josh Firestein move. But but I saw it all go down, and they bumped into the cart during the fight, and I got detained for about half an hour. I had to sit there. I had to wait. They took witness statements. They got mine. They thanked me. They sent me on my way. Yeah. I drove home drunk. It was a great night.
You really do hate this sober culture.
Wow.
I'm kidding, of course. But that's what detaining is. It's like, it's not this evil prison sentence. You're getting sent to the gulag.
Well, then the left will also tell you all of this should be allowed to transpire. Right. Yeah. Otherwise, it's a violation of basic Americans' rights. And then they will also lament the fact that President Trump has said, okay, because of this now, funding to any sanctuary cities is going to be cut off.
Starting February 1st, we're not making any payments to sanctuary cities.
Yeah.
Or states having sanctuary cities because they do everything possible to protect criminals at the expense of American citizens. And it breeds fraud and crime and all of the other problems that come. So we're not making any payment to anybody that supports sanctuary cities.
Can anyone explain to me, can anyone make the case, and this is an invitation to actual, legitimate either professors, representatives, who can make the case to me as to why a sanctuary city is anything other than, by definition, a violation of federal law? All sanctuary city means is we're actually not going to enforce we're not going to allow federal law to be enforced, as a matter of fact. Can anyone explain to me how that makes sense? And can anyone explain to me how people support that when they supported lockdowns of American citizens? They'll do so in the name of freedom. Fascism, jackboot thugs. Well, you didn't want kids to go back to school for 2.5 years or businesses to start up. I remember people eating outside with masks on, and they were limited as to how much time they could spend on a table. You didn't want people to be able to move in and out of states. We look at other countries where you actually had concentration camps, quarantine camps for people who had COVID. But now you're about freedom only when it involves not allowing federal law to be enforced. And by the way, one of the most basic fundamental laws that a nation has to have, that we know who's here? Can anyone make the case? Genuine invitation.
I doubt you'll get anybody to come in and do it and say anything other than, well, we don't like the law.
Yeah.
Or some variation.
That's it. That's all you'll get. Well, the law is wrong. Well, that's not the answer to the question.
That's not how this works. Because I've tried that before with a cop, and he was like, well, I get that you think the law's wrong.
Yeah.
But it's still the law.
I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I had that when I was pulled over with a broken taillight. It had been broken that day, and then I had about a 3.5-hour drive to make in Michigan. And I got pulled over twice. And
you hold the ticket up. I've already got one.
I said, look, I got this here. And then the guy was a Fox News fan, and I had just been on Sean Hannity's show the night before. So he actually roadside discussed that for 40 minutes. Like, he just seems like a really fun guy. I'm like, it's kind of late. Can I get going here?
Yeah.
So
ticket or not?
Yeah. He was like, I get you already have a ticket, but you can't drive with a broken taillight. I was like, yep, I get it. I didn't know that it was broken. This brings us to the next piece of propaganda out there. And this is one where I thought there must be a basis for it. There absolutely must be something here. There's a kernel of truth somewhere. Otherwise, we wouldn't find ourselves, spoiler alert, I'll tell you the end, that Mossad sent an agent to deliberately start the Patagonia wildfires in Argentina because Israel wants to set up a new Jewish state. That's
what?
Yeah, so you would think, okay, so what's the jumping off point? How to, as of right now, it doesn't actually exist.
Lo que está pasando es terrible con los incendios en toda esta región, digamos, y ayudamos en lo que se puede. Da tristeza ver cómo se quema todo, y a veces uno hace lo que puede y no alcanza. Así que es terrible lo que está pasando.
Okay, so obviously that's horrible. That's a tragedy. You'd like to think that as human beings, we are the world, which is also bullcrap. We can all go, okay, let's come together here to try and help people in need or a nation in need. Well, accounts all over the internet are saying that this is specifically the work of Israel and them Jews, though.
I already showed you guys a video yesterday of an individual who saw an Israeli tourist starting fires in Argentina.
Una hora te vas de ahí.
Calling them out.
Una hora te vas de ahí. Sí, dale.
So, I already showed you guys this video. If you want to see it again, you can watch my last video. He did a follow-up video saying, yes, confirming that they were Israeli tourists. Argentines are coming forward saying, we see the land is being sold off to Israelis. They're purchasing it in droves. They're going about Argentina is being set on fire. There was another video that was circulating of a man saying, everybody knows that this land is being sold off for business interests. It's being sold off for real estate. They're setting it on fire intentionally. The Israeli tourists set it on fire. That's what Javier Milei is stating, because after this video was circulating of an Israeli tourist setting land in Argentina on fire, Javier Milei, who's also a staunch Zionist, like he's converting to Judaism, staunch Zionist, is covering up for them and saying that the people that have accused Israeli tourists of setting Argentina on fire are the dark side of Argentina, is what he said. Because what? They're taking a video of Israelis setting it on fire, but you can't say that. You can't say that.
Okay, so, and I really try to do some digging here. Now, as of this moment in time, there's no proof that Israelis set the fires whatsoever. They were tourists. There's one guy saying, you guys are Israeli because he's going by the accent or something. Now, they very, very well, let's say that it ends up being the case that they are Israeli tourists. They were lighting a campfire. They were caught lighting a campfire in a separate no-fire zone, which would be further from the Patagonia wildfires than would be necessary. They weren't deliberately lighting a fire and setting the woods on fire. Again, we have no idea if they are Israeli or not, let alone being agents of Mossad. Milei didn't repeal the fire management law, and Twitter accounts are citing this Argentinian politician who confessed that the fires were set to sell land to Israel all over the place. That politician doesn't exist. So what happens is they resort to either half-truths, complete fabrications, propaganda. So let's be as charitable as possible. Some Israeli tourists lit a campfire where they should not have done so. That seems like that could end up being the case.
Yeah.
How you get from that to, and obviously they are Mossad, and obviously they were deliberately lighting these Patagonia wildfires, and obviously they were doing so because Israel wants to establish another Jewish settlement, and Milei is covering for them. The burden of proof is very much on you, and citing a politician who doesn't exist doesn't meet the threshold. It doesn't mean that the media hasn't lied to you about things, but these people will be so bold as to tell you, why are you pushing propaganda? Well, I'm not. I wasn't even paying attention to the story beyond the fact that the wildfires had taken place until I encountered blatant propaganda. And what happens with that, and now you have people turning on Nick Fuentes saying he's a Fed or a Zionist, is it shortchanges when some corruption actually takes place.
Right.
And it does. There will be an instance where the Israeli government, and it has happened, where they act in a way that is more than questionable. But it becomes white noise because you said that Mossad agents lit Argentina on fire.
It's also a bad strategy to buy land. I think go back to the overlay before the politician. I think you can read pretty clearly. It's so it prohibits, however, that the May Council blah 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 modifying articles that prohibit agricultural activities on land for 30 to 60 years after a fire. You can't do anything with the land for 30 to 60 years, but hey, let's light a match. I guess that'll get them to sell it to us.
Yeah.
What?
It's like, I really like this place. You know what I should do before I buy it? Destroy it.
Yeah. That'll make it cheap. Wait, 30 to 60 years? I guess we'll play the long game?
That's a lumber here I could make money off of. Nope.
Yeah, exactly.
Gonna burn it down.
And I know some people are going to go, see, that's propaganda. Okay.
Fine. Whatever.
All right. Fine. You want to go with that?
I'm not the one that made a stereotypical Spanish name for a guy that didn't exist to push my point.
Yeah, exactly. A politician who does not exist. Guys, we got to do better than this. We got to do better than this, and we have to expect better than this. This is not to say that alternative media has not been an absolute gift in dealing with the corruption of the media as we grew up with, by the way. That's why I'm here. That's why I was on YouTube with a blue bedsheet going back to 2006, 2008. But just making stuff up and then attacking anyone who disagrees with you as a propagandist, that's a real problem. And I'm not saying that everyone who disagrees with me, by the way, is a propagandist. You have people out there right now saying that Iran's not happening. What do you do with that? We can't have a conversation as to where we disagree on opinions if you just say, it's not a thing. Iran's not happening, but the Jews set Patagonia on fire. If you disagree, you're a shill. I would argue the opposite is true. I would argue that holding those two positions makes you highly questionable as a reputable source. But that's just like my opinion, man. All right, Gerald is coughing and snorting
I'm not
and
coughing
sneezing
at all over here. I'm just going to die of some.
Well, then don't come into the studio if you're going to be coughing up a lung.
I didn't cough at all. Did you hear it cough?
Well, you hit the cough
get us
button.
all sick, Gerald.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody can agree. Comment if you agree, but I think we can hear his sinuses coming through.
Yes, I can.
voice,
I can smell them from over here. I smell them getting off the elevator.
That's gross.
Anything else?
Smell you.
No? No? I'll toss to Gerald at a time where he doesn't want to because he can't talk.
I almost sneezed a second ago.
Jews lit the fire? Yes, no.
No.
Good enough for me.
Why did they go to Argentina for? I thought that's where the Nazis went. Are they still hunting them?
I guess so. Tim Kennedy is.
Payback's a bitch.
They're smoking them out. They're in the woods.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's why the Jews are going to Argentina, Gerald, because a natural disaster happened.
Okay.
And naturally, they have to go there to be the scapegoat.
It's actually their duty.
It attracts them. They go, hey, do you think that maybe somebody can make a conspiracy? Let's go.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Candace for a second? Because we've talked about her sort of, Candace 2028. That'll be the president that says nothing's going on. Basically, she's saying that Bibi Netanyahu is excited that the Iranian people might actually overthrow their government.
Of course he is.
The largest funder of terrorism, specifically targeted at Israel. He's actually excited that maybe the leadership will go away. I'm shocked. Man, I got to tune in next time to see what happens.
Yeah. Did she also suggest that it's not actually going on?
Kind of, yeah.
Well, what's Bibi excited about then?
I guess whatever. No. She's saying it's not happening. It's Mossad.
Oh.
Lots of Mossad.
Okay.
Actually,
There's more Mossad than there is Israelis.
Yeah, I heard there was actually
It's impressive.
This was Max Blumenthal. I heard there was actually people protesting in favor of the regime, like millions of people. So that's just not what you think.
By the way,
people do that. People do that. They always go out into the streets and burn things down to show support.
Love you.
And
solidarity.
Yes.
So people do.
Yeah.
And by the way, you guys know, because Max Blumenthal, I've seen people on the dissident right sort of, bringing him into the fold. Show that image right there of Andrew Breitbart. I came up under his tutelage. Before it was Breitbart, the trademark. It was big Hollywood. There were only a handful of writers. I was at a conference when Max Blumenthal was chasing, ambushing, and berating Andrew Breitbart as racist. This is a dyed-in-the-wool leftist who sees you as useful pawns because he also hates Israel. This man, Max Blumenthal, has reviled conservatives his entire career.
Yeah.
And was kind of drummed out of the core from the left just for being an insufferable prick. just to be clear, like I've said, it doesn't mean that you always have to agree with people on the right, but you are precluded from allying with someone like that.
Yeah.
Well, because what does he believe? You can go watch the videos if you can find them on YouTube. I don't even know if you can still find them. I was there. I believe it was CPAC 2000, maybe 2010, maybe 2011. It's either 2009, 10, or 11. And Max Blumenthal there accusing Andrew Breitbart of being racist and accusing, I believe, Andrew Breitbart of faking the Acorn videos, which is what launched James O'Keefe's career. That's who Max Blumenthal is.
Yeah. He's also saying most of the deaths, or at least a large portion of the deaths, are actually from the rioters, in his language. Rioters. The rioters are the ones killing people, not the regime. Not the military actually shooting people. It's the rioters who are responsible for the deaths.
There are reports of some stampeding, and that'll happen. Those are huge crowds. So
and
that will happen.
And marking the regime for death. You saw that. They were marking their locations. I get it. By the way, they're not rioters. They're waging a revolution. I would expect if they had weapons that they would be using them.
That's not what they're saying. They're not saying, and Josh, you're right, like the stampeding.
That's not going to be the majority of it. That's going to be a few people.
They're saying no. The people that went out to protest are being killed by the other protesters.
Oh,
including,
I see.
Oh, well, that's retarded.
Yes, he's not even including they're going after their enemies here, like the police maybe that were going against them and killing them, or soldiers or people from the administration, whatever, or the regime. He's saying that actually the rioters are killing rioters.
Let me tell you why I don't do that.
You're not an asshole?
No, but I am. So that doesn't. For example, change my mind. It was always aimed at highlighting, the failure of the media when we would do them on the street, or the failure of academia when we would do them on campus. It wasn't look how stupid the students are. It's look how ill-equipped they are. And so the natural evolution is we've had an open call out to these different universities. And as I understand it, either in March or in April, I will be debating a university professor with a PhD. Okay? I have to make that walk, and I have to answer for my claims. And I'm going to have to stand there. Let's say it's before somebody where we're arguing the legitimacy of the Department of Education. I need to be able to say trillions of dollars spent, worse standardized scores. In contrast, by the way, to homeschooling, where people have improved across the board. I need to be able to say, actually, sex education has resulted in more STDs, STIs, venereal disease than before that. And again, in contrast to, for example, homeschooling, where you see it at a much lower rate. So the funding, right, the public schooling, the education, the information, in the absence of moral guidance actually makes the results worse. I need to be able to make that argument and not have someone say, yeah, but you said the Jews lit Patagonia on fire, so how can I trust you? Or say, yeah, but, and then go through a laundry list of things that I've said that are factually, verifiably incorrect, categorically false, and doubled down on. That's why so many of these people don't show up. They don't show up to debate. And when they do so, they do it in bad faith, and they move the goalposts. It's very different. If you're someone who doesn't show up, if you're someone who never has to face the music, well, you can make all kinds of false claims. And you can trick people from behind a computer screen for a while because you never have to answer for it. I'm not going to have a leg to stand on. I'm already unqualified compared to a professor with a PhD. Should be an easy night out for them. I want to prove to you that it doesn't need to be complicated, that you can defend your ideas if you are consistent, if you do your due diligence, if you spend a decent amount of time. It doesn't need to take up your whole day, doesn't need to take up your whole life, but you can be an informed American citizen and make reasonable decisions or assertions or hold reasonable opinions that are defensible if you do it this way. If you want to jump to every single new conspiracy theory, well, hey, maybe sometimes you'll be first, but most of the time you will be wrong. And the people leading you down that path, if you want to follow them, whoever it is, I want you to ask yourself, do they move the goalposts? Are they transparent in their sourcing and their referencing? And do they answer for their claims on a regular basis? If they don't, my opinion is those are not people you should trust. And certainly not if they align themselves with the left against the right for the greater good. Because then that means the greater good is leftism run amok in this country. The Blumenthals of the world. That's my opinion. Oh, you're still here? And you're still watching this on YouTube? You've probably noticed something is missing by now. I'm not here. That's because the Live Daily Show is now streaming exclusively on Rumble weekdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Tune in there, where nothing is censored.